Right, we are in the final round of the 10 Soldiers 3 Warhammer tournament, and I am up against Ryan with his Warriors of Chaos army for the round 6, and here it is here. I talked about it earlier on in this commentary over the series, and he's got a Tzeentch Sorcerer Lord on a dragon, a Exalted Hero on a disc with a Flail, so strength 7. All of his units are cavalry units or chariots or whatever. I'll post a write-up of his army list in the video description, so have a look at it. And certainly was not happy about facing him for the final round. A little bit of background here. Ryan is a regular opponent of mine. We're like rivals, almost like he's my nemesis or something. Great guy, of course. I mean, one of my best friends in the Warhammer scene. But really didn't want to face him because he's taken a stupidly ridiculous, nasty list, which nobody really wanted to play against. It's an arse of a list. He's got no infantry at all. You can't really get many points out of him. He's probably got about 1,000 points at least in just characters, and another 400 or 500 points in knights, which are very tough and very difficult to get points out of. So really, it was like the showdown against Ryan for the final round, and I felt very, very reluctant to really get on the field here because, man, what a tough army. It's not a good matchup for me. He's got Gateway against units that I could hide my liches in. He's got the dragon, which is going to be tough for me to kill. And he's got a guy which can wipe out all my chariots, just like the previous round against Joe. So here we have it. I'm going to go into the next photo where we're going to see the armies deployed. What I've done here is I've kept the chariots fairly far back, and planning to keep the scorpions out ahead. Finally managed to actually remember to deploy my scorpions for this game. They are on the right-hand side of the battlefield generally to actually get in the way of the chariots, because I want to threaten his guy on the disc rather than having the disc just charge through and kill the chariots. I've got the Scullipult right at the back of my lines here. The purpose of that Scullipult is just really to fire over the heads of my troops at his large target dragon. The Tomb Guard are up in the middle. Really, they're the only line of defense against his knights and dragon, really, and everything else is back, just looking to try and save points, preserve whatever I can. So the battle plan is really the overall strategy really is to lose the game by a margin of 11-9 or 12-8 to Ryan, but if he plays his cards right, should be able to really get a good walloping off. Next photo shows you his deployment. He's deployed his bear right in front of his fast cav, and he's got his units just spread out basically in the deployment. It's mainly him putting down a unit of hounds, then me putting down something, then another hounds, and then me something, and then another lot of hounds. So by the time I've deployed most of the bulk of my army, he's just deployed units which cost between 30 and 100 points each. So kind of annoying there. He's got his knights kind of spread out a little bit. One unit at the far side, the background, and one unit on the hill. In fact, if I go to the next photo, you can see the concentration of his forces are right in the corner here. Well, actually not the concentration of his forces. He's spread out his forces. He's got the dragon behind the hill on the right-hand side with the chariot and one unit of fast cav. So really a big spread. I was kind of expecting him to concentrate his troops a little bit more and just charge in and crush me, but he's decided to go for something a little bit more subtle. Next image, Tomb Kings win the roll for the first turn and have decided to fly my carrion over the forest just in charge range of his chariot so that his chariot can charge the carrion and overrun into the forest. But really stupidly, I didn't even realize that he had a chariot which was marked Slaanesh and not Khorne, so I thought he was going to be forced to charge the carrion there and wipe out his chariot. But I was mistaken. In one of our practice games, he did have a chariot of Khorne, and in my last game, I was against Joe, who had a chariot of Khorne. But despite him telling me, he didn't actually have a chariot of Khorne, and I just mistakenly blundered my carrion up there. So not a great way to start the game. To make matters worse, in his following turn, he actually wipes this unit of chariots out, pictured there, by getting a spell off Flickering Fire on them, rolling a 6, so +1 strength, strength 7, destroying all of the chariots in his first turn. So not a really good way to start the game. I was hoping to be a little bit more conservative than that. Next image shows you his deployment of his Exalted Hero BSB on a disc with a Flail. Right next to his Chaos Knights, he's going to be going chariot hunting over here, probably using that hill in the far background for a bit of cover. Next up, he takes his first turn. The Marauders charge the carrion, successfully destroying them. The chariot does not have to charge the carrion, so it's just moving around the side there. Dragon flying right in front of the forest, away from my Screamer Skull catapult. I did have a pot shot at him in the first turn. I did actually guess the range perfectly, right on the dragon's head, but I think it scattered or misfired or something and prevented me from killing it. This is the turn in which he wipes out the chariots with his dragon, and of course my Tomb Guard are out of range to charge the dragon at this point in time. So he's kept all of his units alive. I haven't really inflicted any damage yet, and he's actually up on points already. Next image, he's moved everybody straight forward. He's got the hounds out in front. He's got the BSB just far enough back so he can't get charged by a magic moving scorpion. But he will be in range of my chariots before long, so I'm going to have to actually move that lower left pictured chariot unit behind the hill out of his sight range, and the other unit of chariots just back far enough so he's not within his 20-inch flight move anymore. So that's what's going on there. Next image, it's my turn 2. I've moved the Tomb King's unit forward, going to actually try and get into combat with the knights, or at least scare the knights away. I've moved the unit of chariots in the bottom right behind the hill, so they can't be seen by the BSB. And cleverly, I've put 2 scorpions right flush next to each other here, so that if he declares a charge against my chariots, he won't be able to do that without involving the scorpions, or at least sort of getting in the way. So I've actually prevented that charge, and BSB against 2 scorpions will probably go in my favor, or at least he'd be too scared to try it anyway, with only what has he got, the golden eye for the 3+ ward save against shooting. Next image, it's his turn 2, and he moves the dragon behind the forest. He's done this in order to use both of his flaming breath weapon attacks on my big unit of archers. Now, this is his first mistake. I must say that Ryan has got a new job lately, and he's been working some weird hours. He's been a bit tired, but this is just a classic mistake against Tomb Kings. He's moved his dragon within range of a magic move from the archers. Now, granted, the breath weapon attacks were devastating in the archers. Probably killed about 10 to 12 of them, but of course in my following turn I'm able to both resurrect them and magic move them into combat with the dragon, tarpeting him, allowing me to kill him later on. So this is what could be happening. In the next photo, he's moved his BSB behind the hill. He's moved his knights forward a bit. The knights in the far background had indeed had to flee from the tomb guard. That's another mistake he made, moving within 12 inches of the tomb guard, allowing me to magic move forward and threaten a charge. So he'd had to flee from that. In the meantime, he's got his other units' knights moving forward around here. So just a bit of a concave going on here, a bit of a concave war, as you guys might have been familiar with if you're experienced with Warhammer games, but no serious conflict